Imagine cruising down the highway minding your business when state police pull you over. A few minutes later, you're hit with $40,000 in fines and your truck is taken out of service. What's the cause? An overloaded truck without the proper permits. This isn't just a story, it's a real-life incident that serves as a wake-up call for every CDL driver. Knowing your weight limits and having the correct permits aren't just legal obligations. They're essential for protecting your CDL, your career, and public safety. In this case, a commercial truck in Connecticut was pulled over after bypassing a weigh station. The truck was 103,300 pounds overweight and, to make matters worse, did not have a Connecticut Department of Transportation oversize permit. Even though the truck had 8 axles, 6 of those axles were overloaded, violating Connecticut's limit of 18,000 pounds per axle. This scenario shows how critical it is to understand weight limits and the necessity of obtaining proper permits for oversized loads. You may be familiar with the federal regulation allowing up to 34,000 pounds for a tandem axle setup, 2 axles combined. So why did Connecticut issue fines based on an 18,000 pound per axle limit? Here's the key. When a trailer has multiple single axles, like the 4 in this case, each axle is treated individually. In Connecticut, each single axle is capped at 18,000 pounds, no matter how many axles you have. While a tandem axle setup can legally carry 34,000 pounds, single axles have their own individual limit. So even with more axles, if each one exceeds 18,000 pounds, you're in violation of the law. This is why the truck in this incident faced such heavy fines. Despite having multiple axles, the load was still too much for the individual axles to legally carry. But being overweight wasn't the only issue. The truck was also traveling without a Connecticut Department of Transportation oversize permit. Why is that permit so important? It's not just about paperwork. The permit ensures the route you take can safely handle your load. If you're hauling an oversized or overweight load, the permit guarantees that the roads, highways, and especially bridges you travel across can support the weight. Here's an example. If you don't have the permit and you decide to take a route with a bridge that is already under stress and your overweight vehicle crosses it, the bridge could collapse. If that happens, you will be held responsible for the damage or any accidents that occur. Permits exist for a reason. They help route you safely, avoiding areas where your load could cause damage to infrastructure or endanger lives. Without the proper permits, you're not only risking fines but also the potential for catastrophic consequences if something goes wrong. It's not just your license on the line, it's the safety of everyone on the road. Now here's where it gets even more serious. If you receive an overweight ticket and your company doesn't pay, the responsibility falls on you, the driver. Even if you were following orders, the fines are issued to the person operating the vehicle. Your CDL, your career, and your financial future are at risk. Companies may claim they'll cover these fines, but if they don't, you'll be stuck with the bill. This is why it's absolutely critical to check your load and axle weights before heading out. You must ensure both your gross vehicle weight, GVW, and axle weights are within legal limits. Have the correct permits in place if you're hauling an oversized load. Not having a permit can result in hefty fines, route issues, or even accidents. Work for a responsible company that won't pressure you into violating the law. It's your license at risk, not theirs. In this real-world case, failing to meet weight limits and driving without the proper permit resulted in $39,101 in fines, and the truck being taken out of service. And if your company doesn't pay, those fines are your responsibility. Don't let this happen to you. Here are a few more reasons why securing a permit for oversized loads is vital. Safety of other drivers. An oversized or overweight load can be more difficult to maneuver, requiring specific safety measures or escorts. Permits ensure the right precautions are in place. Avoid legal consequences. If something goes wrong, like an accident, collapsed bridge, or damaged road, you, the driver, could be held liable if you were traveling without the proper permit. Don't let a preventable mistake ruin your career. The burden of compliance ultimately falls on the driver. Stay informed, weigh your load, make sure you have the right permits, and never assume your company will handle the consequences of a violation. Your CDL is your livelihood, and protecting it starts with you.